I've made millions of dollars in like 5 industries, right? With these little tiny websites. I've got people that I teach that are making millions doing the same thing.
Take me back. Where does your story begin?
I actually grew up in Utah. No stoplights in our hometown, no restaurants, just very like rural.
Yeah.
I started driving a tractor when I was like 12. It just made me appreciate like hard work. My dad started like giving me books, like the classics, Think and Grow Rich. So I think it just kind of started there.
What was the drive for you to make money? Like
Insecurity.
Really?
I was a farm boy, missionary, and then I got into door-to-door sales. They just fed me to the wolves, dude. I knock on this door and this lady opens and she's just in a see-through nightie. I was just like in shock, like what is this? And yeah, I got the deal, bro.
Dude, that's fucking
Yeah, it was crazy. The shift happened for me and I looked at my bank account. I worked so hard and I remember just thinking, there's no recurring aspect. Like I have to do all of that again to make that money. You can make money cleaning toilets. You can make millions cleaning toilets.
Right.
But like I sat down one day and I just wrote down like, what do I want? And I was with a friend. So he sent me this podcast and this guy was on there talking about this concept of renting out websites.
Did you have any experience?
No. I actually got scammed by a guy that lived in the same place. I bump into this guy at Chipotle.
No way.
Yeah.
Financing for fleets. So for me, it was difficult. We used cash. I went to the dealer. I got a few funded that way through dealer financing. But I quickly saw like what I was teaching just a minute ago to not do that. How do I get more money to go buy these used cars? So this is when I was going to some successful friends of mine, telling them what I'm doing. Hey, we got 7 cars now and we're doing this thing. And I'm telling you the ROI is good. I don't have exacts, but you know, if you have money in the stock market, just try it here, Can I get 100 grand from you? And they were all like, no way. It sounds crazy. I don't understand it. And people you approach, just telling them what you're doing, they don't understand it. It's kind of like when Airbnb first came out, people were like, you mean you want someone to sleep in your house? Absolutely not. Now look at it, right? It's everywhere. It's nationwide, multi-billion, if not $trillion. I don't know about trillion, multi-billion dollar industry. I feel like that's another reason I jumped on this. Like we're on the forefront of this thing, even still. And Turo's been around, I think since 17 and it had a different name before that. I think they changed to Turo 17, 18. I don't know, maybe I'm way off on those dates, but I met a gentleman and he had 11,000 trips on his Turo page. I said, how did you do that? He said, oh, I've been doing this since 2016 when it was called such and such. I'm like, holy cow. So he's totally on the forefront, but there's still major opportunity for us as most people don't know what Turo is, or they kind of heard of it, but they definitely don't understand it. And they don't know anyone doing what we're trying to do. And that's build a fleet of cars, to build a business. So there are some finance companies that are open, and I'm sure you all have your pens and you're ready for this. westlakefinancial.com/Turo-new/question mark. And I'll be able to send all you guys these links, but if anyone's rewatching this video, it is www.westlakefinancial.com/Turo-new/question mark. I don't know why, but that's the link. So that's one. Another one, I'm just going to tell you the name of the company, CarPutty, CarPutty. They are a Turo approved lender. I have not got a loan through either of these places, but these are links that I picked up from that Turo Facebook group, and a lot of people have. I just went to a Turo Power Host event in Orlando, and CarPutty was a sponsor, so they're definitely affiliated with Turo. Another way to get more cars, right? What they call co-hosting. And Mary, I started telling before you got on, I was just talking about how you and I were talking about maybe doing some vans together, and you were going to ship some of your vans down here and we were going to rent them out. That would be called co-hosting. I'm hosting a car for someone else. And so out of my 89 cars, we have probably 15 cars that are other people's cars. And it all started with one. And again, the light bulb went off, the wheels started turning. Actually, you know Spencer, Mary, it was Spencer said, hey, well, I've got this car sitting in Virginia. You know, I live here in Destin, Florida, but I've got a company up there. I never go up there, but this Ford Explorer is sitting there. So he ships it down here. We put it on Turo, and I'm giving him like $700 a month, and he's like, this is great. And so the community average that I've heard is a 70-30 split. 70-30. So I would host and do all the work, and I would take 30% of the profit and give them back 70%. Actually, I lied. There was 2 cars I did before Spencer's. when I first tried co-hosting, I was so excited. I was telling this guy what I was doing, and he said, well, hey, we're going out of the country for a month. You want to take my car and try it? I said, absolutely. It was a Jeep Cherokee, and I told him, everyone's telling me to do a 70-30 split. I keep 30, you get 70. He's like, sounds great. And then his girlfriend was like, well, I'm going with him. Do you want to take my Audi? I'm like, this is amazing. I get 2 cars. And so me and my wife in the summer heat clean these cars like filthy animals, man. Well, first of all, they sent me their cars and they needed a full detail. And so I'm like, okay, write that down. That's another lesson. Anyone gives me a car, bring it fully detailed and send it to me. I don't want to clean up all your dog hair that's stuck into everything. So lesson number 1. So we spent like 2 hours detailing their cars. There was that. Then we worked our butts off on these cars, and we were running them around, sweating, just killing ourselves. And after a month, we made like $300. And I said, I don't like 30%. And who says 30-70 should be the average? Like, I know my time, and I'm not doing that again for another car for $300. It's just not worth my time. And so he was happy. He made $700 while he was out of town, didn't lift a finger. He's like, I'll do it again. I said, I'm good. And so everything's fine with he and I, but I'm not doing that deal anymore. So the next person that reached out, I said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. It's 50-50 split. They didn't bat an eye. They're like, I'll do that. So I'm like, who's to say the industry average in this industry that who says the average should be 70-30? Now, if it's a $100,000 car, sure, I might do that. It's going to bring in a lot more money. I might do that, but on a smaller, cheaper car, it just was not worth my time. So even though it's industry standard, there is no industry standard yet. We are still creating the industry standard, in my opinion. But co-hosting. So once I got one car, Spencer's car, which we still have, it's been over a year. He's happy, I'm happy. I started telling other people about it, and they were like, I'll give you a car. Mary, you were trying to send a couple vans down. And then I'm like, there's a model here too, where if I can't get financed or I can't get funding, there's a way to co-host other cars. And I don't want to say it costs you zero, but it costs you labor. And if it's just you doing it in the beginning, I had all the time for labor. I'll work my butt off, and I did. And so now it costs me hourly labor since we have a team of about 5 people, but it's still worth that 50%, and it helps pay for the labor and it turns into a profit. Excuse me. So co-hosting, I highly recommend trying that with somebody you know. The negatives of it could be, these are all conversations you need to have up front. Expectations, if it's somebody I know, they're like, oh, this is my baby, this is my pride and joy, I don't know if I want to do this with you. The answer is no. If you're that emotionally attached to your car, please don't give it to me, because I don't know who's going to be renting these cars. Could be the greatest people in the world, could be that one bad person that runs it up to Alabama and gets arrested for doing something, right? Or damages the car or wrecks it. That's probably another question you guys have, is what happens if there's an accident? So well, we'll get into that. My ADHD will take this thing all over the place. So financing for fleets, there's Westlake Financial, there's Car Putty, there's your bank, and you can put probably 2 or 3 into your name or an LLC name before banks start questioning what you're doing. They really don't like car sharing, which is like Uber, Lyft, or Turo. They don't like it. And a lot of times they will ask, or your insurance company will ask, is this going to be for a car share type service? That's the tricky part, and I don't want to tell you yes or no on that situation. I'm not responsible for that. I don't want to be responsible for that. I will say that out of the, 500,000 cars that are on Turo right now, or however many are on there, we're all kind of playing that fine line. But how you're protected is this. So we have, when a customer rents on Turo, they are provided coverage from Turo. It's coverage. It's not an insurance policy. There's a fine line there, but Turo does provide coverage under that rental. And so the one where the Mercedes van, they scraped the whole side of it. It was like $15,000 to fix. The agreement I have with Turo is it's covered under that rental, and I paid my $2,500 deductible, and they paid the rest. Of course, they offer the body shop $8,000, and the body shop's like, we need to do a supplement, which is like every insurance company. They try to give as least as possible, but they turned in a supplement and Turo paid it. So it's a fine line there, but on cars that we have, there is another insurance option, and let me scroll down. That is called There's a few of them. There was one called Lula, L-U-L-A. There's a rumor out there now that they are going out of business. I'm not sure. And again, all these insurance companies that I'm going to tell you about, there's 4 of them. I don't know that they're real insurance companies, but they provide state minimum coverage and they are Turo approved. And they're 4 that you've never heard of. And I've talked to my friends who own massive insurance brokerages, and they're like, Sean, there's just no way to do this. No insurance company, you know, and again, they're stuck in the, I don't understand the Turo world. I don't believe in Airbnb back in the day, that type of mindset. So a traditional insurance company wants nothing to do with it. They think it's super high risk and they don't trust it. But these 4 companies are open to it. And so we have all of our cars with ABI. The letters ABI, I should know what that stands for. American, I don't know, but just Google ABI Turo and it will pop up. The other one is GMI, and Google GMI Turo, it'll pop up. And the newest one is Tint, T-I-N-T. And Turo actually shared that this one is going to be coming available soon, and there's a wait list. I have the link for the wait list. And again, this is coverage for your car while it's not on Turo and when you need to be legally covered. And then while it's on rental, you have the Turo coverage. So this is just to kind of cover your butt for your own sake while it's sitting in your driveway, while to get licensed and to be legal if you get pulled over. That's where GMI, ABI, and Tint come in. Lula, I'm unsure of. We used Lula in the beginning, and then when all these rumblings started happening, I did not want to find out that they were going out of business while I was still paying them, you know, $7-8 grand a month for all of our cars. ABI is where we switched to. So again, that should answer probably a lot of your questions.